It's like saying there's 20 Toms walking around, but they're all Tom. Wait, that didn't make any sense. Anyways. Hello, welcome back. I'm Tadowski, and today we are delving further into the untold stories of what the ghosts actually are. We are going to go further down the rabbit hole of what is it? In the last video, we were talking about the Phasmophobia Ghosts that involve Japanese folklore. We were discussing the Yuri, the Goryo, and the Onryo. Those three, we were talking about how Phasmophobia actually got them pretty close to what they actually are. Some slight differences, but the general gist of the idea is there. But let's go ahead and get the shameless self-plug out of the way. Remember, if you like the video, please like the video, and if you want more content like this, don't forget to hit that subscribe button so you can know when new videos come out. I do reviews, information, education. Some people find me funny, some people don't. Can't win them all. But please, if you like it, like it. If you want to comment, good or bad, comment good or bad. This is how I know how to make content that you guys want to see. Now that that's out of the way, today, we're going to go further down that rabbit hole, and we're going to continue talking about the rest of the Japanese folklore beings. Let's go further down this rabbit hole and find out what the hell it is. Now, there's another type of supernatural being in Japanese folklore, and these are also included in Phasmophobia. One of them is called a yokai. Now, a yokai in Phasmophobia is described as a common type of ghost that is attracted to human voices. They can be found haunting family homes. Now, yokai, like yurei, is an umbrella term for all supernatural beings. But the difference between a yurei and a yokai is that a yokai is not actually a spirit at all. It's actually a living being. Yokai are considered earthly creatures that are probably more akin to the Western's version of goblins, fairies, gnomes, things of that nature. They're actual living beings, not necessarily spirits or ghosts. Now, the truth of the matter, yokai are not necessarily good, nor are they bad. Some can cause harm, while others can bring great fortune to those who come across them. And yokai, like yurei, have lots of different types. Now, the yokai differs from the yuri in many, many aspects. Besides the obvious, they are currently alive. First off, a yuri is bound to a person or a place or a time. A yokai has no such limitations. They can go wherever they want. There is a few other things that make a yokai and a yuri different. Now, due to Japanese culture, different from ours, yokai, or these sort of beings, often have animal features, things like cats, turtles, rats, rather than the human-like imaginative features, such as like wings, or, gnomes have big feet, or they're short in stature, things of that nature. Now, there are 3 different types of yokai utilized in the game. So that makes 4 different ghost types are not necessarily ghosts. However, they are supernatural beings. One of them is the Obake. Now, Phasmophobia describes an Obake as a terrifying shapeshifter capable of taking on many forms. They have been seen taking on humanoid shapes to attract their prey. Now, an Obake in Japanese folklore is a type of yokai that can change or transform into some other form, whether it's an animal, a human, a plant, or even inanimate objects like chairs and tables. Now, some people do classify a yurei as a type of Obake due to the fact that a person is transforming into a spirit, so it transforms in some sort of fashion. But there are drastic differences between what a yurei is and the specific aspects of the Obake. Now, an Obake can have many different names based on the true form of what the Obake is. Is the Obake actually a cat? Is it a turtle? Is it a wolf? Is it a human? All of these things determine what type of Obake it is. For an example, if the true form of an Obake is an animal, such as a fox or a turtle, it's actually called an Obake mono. Now, a fox could turn into a human, or it could turn into a table or whatever else. Based on its nature of shape-shifting, it likes to be mischievous. Now, an Obake is neither good nor bad. Think of Loki. He's a demigod, not necessarily a god. Loki can transform his figure into basically whatever he wants, and he does this to create chaos and mischief. He finds it hilarious. An Obake can kind of be thought of in the same fashion. So it's not necessarily a good or bad thing. However, Phasmophobia did get it somewhat right with the shapeshifting aspect. It is a type of shapeshifter. Now, another ghost in Phasmophobia that comes from Japanese folklore that is a type of yokai is called an oni. Now, Phasmophobia describes an oni as something that shares traits with demons and possesses extreme strength. There have been rumors that they become more active around their prey. In Japanese folklore, an oni is a type of yokai known for their fierce and evil nature. So what do we mean? What then is an oni, right? An oni would be more like our orc, goblin, troll, amongst many other. Onis are very similar to demons. It is very similar in that fashion, as it is a different type of living creature that is basically pure evil. So Phasmophobia did kind of get it right on that aspect. Now, oni are generally regarded to have a propensity for murder and cannibalism. These figures are generally portrayed as a large hulking figure that has a horn or multiple horns coming from their heads. Oni are just scary to look at. They cause fear just by looking at them based on the way they appear. But in more recent times, Onis have been portrayed in a more tamer form with more tame behavior, putting a more realistic or humanistic feeling to it, as opposed to the just straight bad nature of them. The last yokai that we're going to talk about in Japanese folklore is the Raiju. Now, Phasmophobia describes the Raiju as a demon that thrives on electrical current. While generally calm, they can become agitated when overwhelmed with power. But in Japanese folklore, the Raiju is a thunder animal that is the companion to the god of lightning, Raijin. Now, the Raiju is described such as this. Its body is composed of lightning in the form of a white and blue wolf or dog, commonly. However, the Raiju has been known to be portrayed as any other type of animal, a fox, a tiger, so on and so forth. Now, the Raiju is more of a name of a specific being than it is a general term. Think of him like a little pet to the god of lightning. That is sort of what the Raiju is. But the Raiju isn't necessarily evil, and it doesn't necessarily cause harm. Basically, what scholars believe is that the Raiju and the Raijin were old-time explanations for lightning, that they didn't understand how it came about. So the Raiju is not necessarily a figure that's believed in anymore, but it still existed and exists in Japanese folklore. And Phasmophobia did kind of get an aspect of it right with the electricity. However, it's not necessarily a ghost and it's not necessarily bad. And so there you have it. We have completed all the Japanese folklore ghosts in Phasmophobia. While the Yuri, the Onryo, and the Goryo were pretty spot on, you can see that the type of yokai that we've discussed are pretty different. Does that mean Phasmophobia is a horrible game? By no means, no. And I'm not trying to say that at all. I don't want anyone to interpret what I'm saying as a jab at the game. Phasmophobia is a phenomenal game, it still is, and that will not change my mind. However, from what we are learning, it's very interesting to see how vastly different what the actual folklore is versus the game interpretation. So I hope you enjoyed learning about these. I will make another video to discuss some of the other ghosts that you can find in Phasmophobia, and I'll also be doing research on other games so that we can bring more creatures to you and a little bit more about the backstory of them. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you have a great day and be safe out there.